Nataka kukaribisha mgeni wetu mwingine hapa anaitwa Antony Kirori. Antony, good morning sir.
Good morning sir.
How are you?
Mzuri sana na wewe?
Good to see you.
Same here.
Unajua wewe ni mgeni kwetu. Naomba yeye ndio tutaanza na wewe kufanya introduction.
Asante.
Ndio tuingie kazi.
Very good. So, my name is Antony Kirori, CEO wa Green Pencils Limited. Green Pencils is an SME manufacturer, an innovative SME manufacturer. Basically what we do, we take paper, convert it to wood and make pencils. Now many people always ask, mbona msikate mti? For a very simple reason. In Kenya, you're not allowed to cut trees to make pencils. Therefore, all wooden pencils are imported. So we came, when we got to know that information, we saw an opportunity because in primary school, tulifundishwa, paper comes from wood. So it's simple. Take paper, reverse engineer, ikuwe mbao, ikishakuwa mbao, make pencils. Then I'm no longer jobless, and I create job not just for myself but for others. We also make road studs. These are the things zikiwa kwa barabara, ukihakisha mata usiku zinakusaidia kuguide. Our studs were tested against the import. We are the only local manufacturers in Kenya and actually East and Central Africa, and I'm happy our studs were recently tested by the Ministry of Infrastructure against the imported studs. Passed mark ilikuwa 90%, we scored 96%. We are the only ones that passed. Sasa tunangoja kuingia kazi.
So unatoa karatasi una reverse inakuwa mbao tena.
Yes, ilitoka kwa mbao.
Unatengeneza inakuwa penseli.
Inakuwa penseli.
Na nyingine mataya barabara unatengeneza na nini?
Garbage. Takataka.
Kirori.
Yes.
Iko penseli moja tuone.
Haishingejua ningebeba.
Ungekuja na penseli bwana.
Next time ndabeba. Nimejimake hakuna shida. Next time ndakuja nazo.
Umenipa pesa marketing tayari.
I think what we will do okay. We should pay a visit to that green pencils and see what they do.
Hakuna shida.
Come let the tacklers
know. Unajua kwamba kuna penseli inafanywa reverse engineering.
Exactly. We want to see that reverse engineering kwa sababu kuna wetu wengine tacklers kama wapale ndeia wanasikia what is the reverse.
Wanasikia mchele hiyo. So where is the factory?
We are based in Juja. Tuko Juja pale Nyashava.
Okay, Nyashava.
Yes.
So when did this company ilianza lini?
Tulianza officially in 2012. Officially. Unofficially around 2006. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Tutaanza kazi na mambo ya boda. These guys have become a serious menace. Juzi wamechoma sijui gari, juzi wamefunga barabara pale Umoja bypass. These guys are becoming a menace. Mushendu, what do you think about this boda? How do you deal with that?
I think our problem with the ruling political class today, because they want to weaponize our young people in the name of the current narrative, that is the Hasuras versus the dynasties. I want to believe the current class war, it is not between the poor and the rich. For me, it is between the oppressor and the oppressed. I'll give you an example. We have seen the likes of Kirori industry being taken for a lot of their money. We have seen Kina Humphrey Karaoke, the alcohol magnate in this country, being taken to court only to be found very innocent. These are not poor Kenyans that are being learned by the system. These are Kenyans who have been able to make money of their own. But this ruling class continues to oppress those people who want to make opportunities. And it is unfortunate that it is not the propagators of the hustler nation that are weaponizing this war. It is the proponents of the Kieleweke, or should I say the people currently supporting the government of the day. They want to weaponize. It is not the first time the border people have burned vehicles down. It will not be the first time.
But what about the culture? The culture.
Let me tell you.
Let's even leave the politics out.
Yes.
The culture of these border guys.
I'll tell you, the border guys. Let me give you an example, and I'm giving the Kenyans who are listening to me a tip. One time, I was involved in an accident with a border guy just past Sagana River as I'm heading to Nyeri. The first business you do when you get into a fight with, you get into an accident with a border guy, the first thing I always do is I will always make sure I grab his phone. Maybe put it in my pocket or throw it away. Because if you allow him to make just one call, in the next 10 minutes, you will have about 200 border guys. They would come even 20 kilometers. And I am afraid that Today, the boda industry is being turned into the unlawful groups that were sent away sometimes back by Mishoki. So, and they are becoming a cartel that needs to be leaned on, talk, because they become a menace. They will cause an accident, and then they will marshal support from the rest of the boda rides, that even when the police comes, it becomes difficult for you who is a victim to actually be verified as somebody who needs to be compensated or who needs to be seen as a victim you are. So therefore, the culture of boda needs to be arrested, because I want to thank President Kibaki for opening the boda industry, because it is through him that this industry flourished. But I think from the word go, we lacked the mechanism of governing the boda industry. I have not seen the explicit effort by NTSA or other transportation involved organization in Kenya to try and streamline this particular industry. Today, 45% of the riders on the road do not have licenses. That is a fact. Over 50% of the bodas move around without insurance. We do not have a clear mechanism of reining on this boda. And I say this without fear of contradiction. I will not be surprised if somebody is actually drumming support for bodas to do the issues, because it makes no sense when somebody talks about dynasty when burning somebody's car. It will not surprise me if there was somebody behind that kind of a narrative, just to drive a wedge that we are starting a class war. It is very funny. Talk. The people who are talking about a class war between the rich and the poor, these are people who have already tasted leadership in this country. They have known what is good for leadership. It is unfortunate. Probably, you may not agree with what the deputy president is saying. You may not be a supporter of the deputy president. But it is a clear indication when the discussion about a small person, whether it is brought genuinely or not, as long as that discussion is on the table, there are people who feel threatened in this country. That we are talking about that young person who needs to come up. Forget whether whoever is bringing it is genuine or not. But as long as that conversation is on the table, we have people who feel threatened talk. We have people who feel that we should not have a discussion about my friend here who has started the green pencils from nothing. So an opportunity decided to build himself. I am telling you, likelihood is that if he was in another place in this country, he will not be allowed to do what he is doing. Because there are people who feel that this is our space. Nobody should invade this space. Nobody should come even close to this space. And that is my fear for the young people. That you are being told that you will be given 7 years of tax holiday. My friend here is a business person. Maybe he will tell us, if you do not pay tax, talk. How does government or banks rate the genuineness of your business? Because if you come, my friend, with a statement, a bank statement, we know bank statement can be cooked. That's the truth. But if you walk to a bank with your tax compliance, the bank will verify that indeed this business is making this particular amount of money. So therefore, it becomes easier for you to get a loan against the capacity of your bank. The capacity of your business. But stop paying tax. Let's see what you're going to work with into the bank and argue that actually my business makes this. I'll give you an example. A friend of mine has a building along the Nairobi Kamandora Highway, the one that is under construction. The government is compensating those people because they want to expand the road. So inside the building there is a crab, but he has operated a crab without paying tax. So the government valuer came and valued the house, because the house, at least he paid the RAD rates, and he has paid he paid the county government for approvals of the building. So they valued the house and they will pay him the house, but they did not value the crab. Why? Because they could not get documentation saying that this crab has been paying tax, so therefore they can verify that this particular crab is making this amount of money. So government is telling you, if your business was making 4,000, there is a likelihood you'll be given a tax holiday, and after 7 years your business will still be making 4,000, because you do not have supportive document to go and take to the bank so that the bank can give you that loan. The tax holiday is a mockery of the motto of the Kenya Revenue Authority. The motto of Kenya Revenue Authority says, kulipa ushuru ni kujitegemea. So if somebody tells you don't pay tax, anakuambia sasa ujitegemee. That's the plain truth. And the bracket that is making money today, it is probably from 23 years to probably about 50. That is the most productive unit and the most productive age of this country. Forget the multinationals like Safaricom that are paying hefty. Talk about those young people that are building business between 23 and 50. Now, you want to give tax holiday from 23 to 35 because that is what is a youth in this country. You want to give tax holiday to the unit in our society that is more productive, that would actually raise the revenue figures in this country, and you want to give them. If you ask me, Muchendu does not require a tax holiday. What does Muchendu require? Muchendu requires that you use the bank processes so that getting a loan from commercial bank becomes easy. So I can go take a loan that is not does not attract so much tax. It is easy to get, does not have a very fictitious process that sometimes in every 7 people who apply a loan, only 2 gets a loan from the bank. That's the sad reality in this republic. So a young person does not require a tax holiday. I require, give me a very conducive environment to do business. Banks gives me a loan. I am able to start a business. I am able to pay my tax, and I will go to that same bank and they will raise my loan level from 1 million to 2 million as I continue building and paying tax, until one time I can walk into a bank and get a concession of 200 million. So if you ask me, we have a lot of shenanigans that will not help our young people that we are being promised today. Let this government be real to us, and let them deal with those border people. Why are we having so many people joining border industry?
Lack of employment.
Lack of employment.
All right, Antony, what do you think?
Sir.
What are your thoughts? What do you think about the border menace?
It's a tricky one, because if you're on the wrong side of them, in fact, not the wrong side of them. For instance, this thing that we had, was it in somewhere in the Rift Valley? The gentleman was coming from taking the daughter to school. The border hit him. The border is on that was on the wrong side of the road. And then what happened? They burnt his vehicle. So this is what is it? It's a time bomb. It's a ticking time bomb. It's almost about to explode, because now it's like we're having another miniaturized government taking place. So I would think the best thing would be, first of all, it's not all the border guys that are bad. It's just a few elements. But then again, there's a thing called mob psychology. So when somebody is involved in an accident, there'll be those people who will see there's a chance to loot. There's a chance to steal. So what is in that person's car? What is in his pockets? What is in the boot? So they'll come and steal. And after that, they burn the vehicle. Also to teach the others, mkituona, mnajua sisi ni kama another serikali. Tuogope. This is wrong. The government definitely needs to do something, and I think the easiest would be, there's the border association, there's the motor vehicle association, and of course there's government. They need to come together and find what is a sustainable way forward, because they cannot continue this way. In fact, the border people, if I was a border person, I would tell the rest of the others, as much as possible, let's not attract such kind of attention to ourselves, because we are going we are creating an atmosphere that is not conducive for our business, because they could reach a point in time whereby there'll be so much out of control and government can just say, manana boda boda, cease. Then what happens? That's not sustainable. So they need to have a way, they need to think through it properly and thoroughly. Yes.
So, I mean, how do we then regulate them? Because nobody wants to touch them. Because mtu anajaribu kugoza anaambia 2022 kuna kura. So there's nobody who really want to deal with the border guys. Everybody is trying to be a darling to them.
Yes.
You know, the government, the local leadership. Nobody is really taking this issue of border guys seriously. And I think, if I'm not wrong, if it goes unchecked, then it's going to be another militia.
It is going to be.
You know?
Yes.
It's going to be another militia. So at one point, where's the turnaround for this? And how do you start dealing with these chaps?
You see, that's what I'm saying. If I was a border person, I'll try to talk to the rest of our people, because, fine, as you're saying, nobody wants to touch them. None of the politicians want to touch them. The government doesn't want to touch them because of 2022. But if they continue with this process of whereby they are banning vehicles and taking the rule unto themselves, even when I'm the border guy and I make a mistake, then I'm the one who seat your vehicle. Then I call my friends, we ban your vehicle. Sooner or later, they are going to touch the wrong vehicle. They are going to touch maybe the vehicle of a son or a daughter or a wife of a very prominent person.
You think that's when they lacked?
Pardon?
You think that's when they'll act finally?
That will force. They will. You see, this is not sustainable. It cannot continue forever. Sooner or later, either they'll touch the wrong vehicle, or alternatively, the public will reach a point and demand serious action to be taken. What we need to do, borders are not bad, but we need to think. I'm not in the sector, and I'm not in the government sector, but whoever are involved in terms of regulating, they need to think of a way. They call, a PPP, public-private participation. They need to call all the people on board and then find out what is there, what's the solution there. I believe there is a sustainable solution to this menace. It's just that I've not put my head to it. You just asked me that right now. But I believe we can easily get a sustainable solution that's a win-win to the border person, to the private motorist, and when an accident does happen, there must be a win-win. There must be a solution out of it. Yes.
Okay. All right. Acha tusonge kidogo kwa mambo ya America. There was a swearing in yesterday. The outgoing president Trump refused to attend the inauguration. And I think clearly then this is not the only problem we have in Africa. Looks like hata iko ngambo pia Europe and every other place. Even America, the oldest democracy, we're still struggling with outgoing presidents accepting defeat. You know, yesterday Trump, instead of going to the inauguration, they said to go to Florida.
Yes.
He refused to attend the inauguration. Back here home, to go Paganda Kingdom, Bobi Wine is still under house arrest. I mean, the problems that we're facing in terms of respecting democracy and actually respecting the dignity of leadership is becoming appalling. Not only in Africa, but even outside in other developed countries, for instance, America. I want us to look at both of these cases. Back at home in Africa, Museveni has decided that only death will get him out of power. In America, we have a Trump president that has refused to accept. I saw a note yesterday.
Former president.
Anasema alikuja akaweka pale kwa desk ya kwamba Biden, you know I want this. You know? What are your thoughts? Then we throw it back to Mshendu on the two cases. Museveni and America issues.
This one of Museveni, it's quite tragic. Because from what I read, is that there's a child who had gone to visit Bobi Wine. An 18-year-old, a cousin or a nephew or somebody like that.
18 months.
Sorry, 18-month-old.
Yes.
So the child is also under house arrest. Now, it's even worse that the food in their house has gotten finished. They have a garden, a kitchen, they have a garden outside their house. When the wife went to get food, some burgers or whatever it is, to cook for the others, for the rest of the family, she was beaten and told to get back in the house, and she was refused. You're locking them up and you can't give them food. This surely is... What does he want them to do? To starve? This is definitely not right. In fact, this borders on evil. And what for? He has already won. So why? It's like a sense of what? Insecurity. Why such a great sense of insecurity? It just goes to... And then also on the other side, in America, Trump refusing to concede defeat. I think it's the fine nature, or is it the raw or the bad nature of us human beings, that you feel entitled When somebody feels entitled, hii kiti ni yangu, si yetu, hii ni yangu, it's now your personal property, then now what is it said? Excessive power corrupts.
It says power corrupts.
Power corrupts.
Absolute power corrupts. Absolutely.
Exactly. So I think that's a case whereby one believes I am the president for life, the other believes I cannot be beaten by such a candidate as Biden, and you now let that get into your mind, corrupts the way you are thinking, and then the end results ends up many people lose their lives, you inconvenience people, and fought for anyway. Hii maisha si permanent. We are here for only a blink of a time. The best thing, do the best that you can. Hiyo ingine unachia Mungu.
Muchendu.
Well, I want to say Kenya finds itself in a very thin line when it comes to the results and what is happening in Uganda. One, Uganda is our leading export market in this republic. If you take Uganda and move it away from Kenya, Kenyan economy will ultimately crash because we import so much. It is our biggest export market for Kenya. And again, Kenya must be seen to stand for democracy. So therefore, you saw the number of readers congratulating Museveni. You even remember the congratulatory message by State House page was flagged by Facebook as not true. You also saw Mudavadi, you saw Kina Raila Odinga, and everybody congratulating Museveni for his win. This was done out of fear that anything failure of a congratulatory message to Museveni will affect the economy of this country. That is the line under which they used all of them to congratulate Museveni, despite knowing and seeing what was happening directly in Uganda. Because what has happened in Uganda is an epitome of dictatorship at its best. And there was no way you were expecting, after taking Bobby Wine through such a menace over the campaign period, and expect that Museveni will sit and accept that the Electoral Commission will declare Bobby Wine as the winner. You see, this is a problem, and I will probably be on the same quagmire if I was the Kenyan leader. Here is a nation that is throwing democracy under the bridge, and here is a nation called Kenya that does its over 60% of its exports in the marketing, in the African market, to Uganda. So what do? Do I upset Kaguta Museveni and he just decided to cross the border and this country economy comes down? Or do I fight? If I was the leader of this country, I would push an agenda from our international friend so that they can press Uganda to do the needful. Because it's very wrong. This guy became the president, is it 1985? It's 1985.
And he says the problem with Africans is that they stick on leadership.
No, let me tell you. I think both Kagame of Rwanda and Yoweri Kaguta of Uganda, both of them have dictator traits, both of them. But there is a very big difference between the two. Kaguta is an oppressor, kind of a dictator, when you have Kagame on the other side being a benevolent dictator who has and is building the economy geared to help Rwandans come out of it. So I think as a nation in this republic called Kenya, one, I don't believe we hold the moral authority to lecture Uganda on the outcome of elections. I don't think we do. As of now, we do not hold the moral authority to do that. But then again, we cannot just keep quiet and say everything is going on in Uganda. We are raising dictators. In Tanzania today, we only have one opposition MP in the entire parliament. They were crushed by Magufuli. In Rwanda, the same is happening. We are seeing fights in Southern Sudan. Look at what is happening in Burundi. The East African community, we are setting a very bad precedent on how people are rising to power. what we are looking at Uganda, it can possibly happen in this republic if we do not watch. You can hear the gospel of too young to retire, kamwana no muhakaradhane in our French. So these are issues that must be addressed categorically, that where are we taking democracy in the sub-Saharan Africa? Because look at the nations of the sub-Saharan Africa, you realize instead of democracy growing, it is going down. Things are happening that are showing that, look at this country, Bitok. Mm-hmm. We have an illegally installed deputy governor in Nairobi. That is a fact truth. When Sonko was sent away, there was no deputy governor that was sworn in. Mm-hmm. It is crazy that we are swearing in a deputy governor, then make her an acting governor. I mean, that is thuggery of the highest order. It is, I don't know how to put it, but we are just throwing the constitutionalism out of the window. We do not want to follow. And I hope the courts will do justice to the people of Nairobi, because there is a pending cases that we cannot discuss. But I hope they do, because that is how we start leaping democracy in this country. Tomorrow it is going to be a president who will be installed in that manner. If we allow that to work,
kuna kitu mtajua.
Ati unataka kuenda kupigana kwa sababu president amesoa hii illegally, and then the government inakuulizanga ulisikia wapi? So when you come to America, Bitok, I must say that it is joy to see finally the Sleepy Joe is now the president of the republic.
Joy to see the Sleepy Joe.
No. I did not call that.
Wewe na visa America utonea sasa. Wewe na visa America.
No. I mean, that is something that was started by those people who he met in the Senate those days. That guy was elected, I think, at 27 or 28 years to the United States Senate. And he has been, he was one of the vocal senators fighting for the independence of the Republic of South Africa when Mandela was being prosecuted. He has come a long way to and you know, funny enough is that Joe Biden was not born in Delaware. He actually moved to the state of Delaware. He's the only known politician who worked in Washington and always slept at Delaware. He slept at home using a train every day. And if you look at his track record, the voting pattern in the Senate, you would realize that he has been very consistent on the message. And listening to his inaugural message, one of the biggest responsibility Joe Biden will have in America is to unify the American people, because they are split right across the middle. And he cannot have any reason not to deliver to the American people, because the Democratic Party are now controlling the House of Representatives. If you go to the Senate, the Republican senators are 50. The Democrat senator are 50. And you know, in America, the vice president becomes the president of the Senate. Therefore, she holds the vote to swing the voting. So therefore, we are expecting the junior senator from New York to formally become the majority leader of the Senate after the now vice president, Kamala Harris, chairs the first Senate meeting next week and officially cast her vote to make the Democrat the majority leader in that Senate. So therefore, if it comes to clearance of the cabinet by Joe Biden, it's going to be very easy, because he has the numbers in the House and in the Senate. So we are expecting him to unify. The most important thing is to unify and deal with COVID-19. I have a feeling that Joe Biden will only serve for one term. That's my feeling. Probably serve for one term. By the time he is serving that, he will be relatively over 80 years. By the time he is 82 years when he's doing his final year. So I'm expecting that come 2024, we will have a new Democrat vying for the president, and most likely I foresee a situation where Kamala Harris will probably continue being the vice president. It will not surprise me if I hear the Democratic Party start beating drums for the wife of the former president, Barack Obama.
With Kamala Harris being a vice president.
Yes, because
that would be interesting.
Yes, it will be very interesting. If you look at the ratings if you look at the ratings of Michelle Obama in the United States today, they are very promising. She has more rating than the current vice president, Kamala Harris. So 2024, I am looking at a very energetic Republican Party that will be driven by the likes of Texas Senator Kina Ted Cruz, the people like Mitt Romney, the former governor and the former presidential candidate. Because what Trump has done, he has trashed the Republican Party. Within the Republican Party, I am a fan of American politics. We talk. Within the Republican Party, there is a group calling itself the GOP, the Grand Old Party. These are the conservatives. These are people who believe that same-sex marriage should not happen in America. These are the people who stand for the gun right in America. These are the beacons of hope in the Republican Party. Trump decided to trash all of them and make the Republican Party a shell of its former self. So I hope they go back to the drawing board and bring out the Republican Party of the Ronald Reagan, bring out the Republican Party of George Bush, so that we can go. It was very childish of Trump not to show up for the inauguration. For the 56 inauguration ceremonies that has happened in America, no sitting president has ever failed to attend an inauguration ceremony. But President Trump's presidency has been a dream, like a dream to American people. And it was only fair that it has been full of craziness, madness, drama. There was no way Donald Trump was going to exit without drama. It had to happen. In the day that Biden is supposed to be a day of the incoming president, Trump decides to make an exit in White House in the morning. You saw how he made a serious exit. Went to the Andrew Joint Base, decided to hold a ceremony at the Andrew Base, and it was called to actually not make the day about Joe Biden. It has to be about Trump. And then, who does that? Did you see that note? It was a 4-letter note. Joe,
someone actually said it was fake.
No, it is not fake. America. It is not fake.
Robert Kobe.
You can say that, but I was watching CNN this morning before I left the house, and I was also flipping watching Fox News, and that particular note was the subject of discussion. And then, knowing Trump, you know he will like that shit. You would say it. He actually said he will be back. And I really hope that the Democrats are going to initiate the proceedings to actually censor him, because if he is censored by the Senate, that means he cannot vie again as the president of the Republic.
But you see, Joe Biden has been accused of being indecisive. He's been accused of, that's why I even call him, Trump was calling him Sleepy Joe. I mean, the guy who cannot move a fly. It looks like he's a guy who cannot move things. What are the things that you expect Joe Biden to do differently from Trump or any other president that has come before? Specifically Trump, because there's been a serious critic of Trump in terms of how Iranian systems. Obama came in, he had his own era and eras. You're looking at Trump, who came in, and he has, as much as he has, the conservatives have been almost impressed by what Trump has been doing, because it seems to be, trying to incite the conservatives against the immigrants and every other person who came in. Although Trump actually is an immigrant himself, but anyway, he has come in as a guy who who raised a lot of excitement from the people that he felt were being, talking about jobs that have been taken. The other way, even deported guys back to Africa and Kenya, for instance. What do you think Biden would do differently?
First things first. I'm sure Biden has a plan. Whatever the plan is, I don't know. But definitely he must have a plan. So, among the first things he'll do, which I think he already did, he already signed something. I think he signed something yesterday. Most of the things that Trump did, the executive orders, that are not, that were just, like as part of the movement, or that Biden or the administration will think are not good for the American people, he's definitely going to revoke them. Also, I'm sure Trump had exited the, World Trade Organization. So such kind of things, he's going to make sure that they go back. Also, during Trump's era, he didn't work very well, so closely with the Allied forces or their friends in Europe and maybe North America.
And the eastern side.
Yes.
And the Asians and all that.
Yes.
China, for actually to be specific.
For China, it's a bit different because I think Biden might come down harder.
Really?
Yes, Biden could come down a bit harder.
He's already starting to send signals of friendship to China.
There's something more. There's this lady that has been appointed. She used to work for FBI. I've forgotten her name. She's taken a very senior position.
Is one of the assistant attorney. She'll be one of the assistant attorney general in the Republic of because the Attorney General of America has 3 assistants of various departments. I know that it is.
Yes.
I'll check.
She said that first of all, they need to get down to the bottom of the coronavirus, the COVID-19, the origins. How did it start? So they need to get their intelligence back in order. They need to remove the politics from intelligence. They need to remove the politics from the FBI's and Pentagon. They need to remove the politics from the intelligence system, so the intelligence system can function efficiently as it's supposed to be. And among the things that they need to do is to find out exactly what was the origin of the COVID-19. Was it an accident? Was it designed in a laboratory? Exactly what it is. So in the process of that, I don't think they are going to be the best of friends with the Chinese government, because whatever it is, I don't think China will want that further ruffled. Right. So I don't think they're really going to be that close to China. But the best thing is this: with Biden, the least I would expect, systems will work.
You believe so?
Yes, they will work in the sense that you don't have to fear the political ramifications to whatever it is that you're doing.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, let's come back home. Tuende kwa magazeti. Tuanza na gazeti ya Standard. The gazeti inasema, where are the 7 million masks for schools? That is education, page 38. Raila party zooms off to 2022 battle. Presidential run. ODM shifts gears, prioritizes 2022 campaign, even as it insists on structured and informal talks with allies to protect its interest. That is on page 9. Page 5, page 8. Waiguru's message to Uhuru over BBI. Challenges make BBI a collaboration rather than a competitive process by bringing everyone on board, including those with divergent views, says Governor Anne Waiguru. Interesting times to be alive. That's Governor Anne Waiguru making a turn on BBI. The headline is, Enter Biden, outgoes Trump in front of a heavily fortified U.S. Capitol. Joseph Robinette Biden Jr. became the oldest person ever to assume U.S. presidency and has scaled back the feat, largely stripped of its usual pomp and circumstance due to coronavirus and security concerns. That is on page 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and 7. I think this has really been largely covered. At this hour, my friend, that is Joe Biden, at this hour, my friend, the democracy has prevailed. Today, we celebrate the triumph not over candidate, but over cause. The cause of democracy. President Joe Biden kiwa pale na madam kando yake. I'm also seeing let me see, I think we've lost the Standard, but let's look at the People Daily. Biden's promise, change of guard of Obama's former deputy becomes the 46th president of the United States, declaring that democracy has prevailed and that he would serve all Americans equally as he takes the helm of a deeply divided nation and inherited a pile of crises in a ceremony boycotted by his predecessor. That is Joe Biden. Ameona maajabu. Joe Biden is sworn in as the 46th president US by Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts yesterday at the US Capitol in Washington. Inside, Vice President Kamala Harris takes a halt. All right. I also saw Obama really showed up with Michelle Obama with a lot of clout and pomp. Page 6, Trump, that is President pardons dozens in his final hours at M and departs White House hours to Biden's inauguration. That is, I will be back, says this Chris Trump. Anasema atarudi. Sijui atarudi namna gani.
You know that guy is a hilarious guy. He was trying to pardon himself from the possible impeachment. I mean, it's like I always find it as usurping justice. It is like here when you see people like Bitok here can realize that the police is looking for him and instruct his lawyers to get a bail. What do you call it? There is a word they use that you're getting a bail, a bail because you know
anticipatory bail.
Yes. That is usurping justice. Why are you being given that opportunity first? That is what Trump was trying to do. He has pardoned people who do not deserve the pardon. He was trying to actually piece of the people who are coming back to government. And I find that once you're pardoned by the President of the United States, you can never be prosecuted on the same issue again, ever. So I would say that wale watu, unajua kuna wakati President Kenyatta came to Kiambu, and our governor then, Waitito, was doing the introduction, and he was telling the people he was introducing the president, dokiogeithia president, nakugeithia president takuria charity, like shaking the hand of the president is like winning a charity event. So I would say to those people who are pardoned by Trump, mekura charity bana, go out there and change. Go out there and change. You probably Trump did not even know you, but he just wanted to piss some people off and decided to actually pardon you. If you are pardoned and you do not deserve it, go out there, change, be a better person. I will also want to say, Bitok, when you hear people like Trump trashing people like Joseph R. Biden, that is someone with an impeccable record. You know, the current crime bill that is being used in the US that was passed in 1994, propagated by the government of Bill Clinton. He was a champion of that particular crime bill that is able to tame crime up to today in America. When it comes to justice system, Joe R. Biden has a very good track record of dealing with that. I also want to support what you have said, that I have no doubt in my mind that the America of Joe Biden will decisively deal with China. That one I have no doubt in my mind. China has not only threatened the security of America, it has actually dealt a blow to the American economy. One of the strongest point of any Democratic Party government in America, it is how they deal with the economy. So as part of dealing with China, they will also deal with a lot of trade deals that Trump has trashed. We have so many bills, we have so many acts that the American government has passed so as to strengthen the business relationship with other nations that Trump has decided to trash. And therefore, as part of dealing with China, they will come with a very serious economic policies for the United States. And as a matter of fact, they will also, the moment you deal with China from a business perspective, you will have dealt with them even from the security perspective, because today China becomes a threat to the United States because of the kind of business they are doing. Look at the difference between the China-Africa trade and United States-Africa trade. China is winning by almost 2 points to 1. If you look at the economy in the last 4 years, these are some of the things that Joe Biden is expected to deal with. The relationship between America and Africa, it is one thing. Do you know that Trump never stepped in Africa in his entire 4-year term? He did not see the need to come to Africa. He did not see the need to do. And any leader who has been hosted in America by Trump, you are being hosted and you are being... no leader has actually gone to America from Africa and come up with a deal that favors their people. That's the honest truth. And we really hope Joe Biden is going to bring a different policy of American towards Africa. Knowing that our ambassador, has resigned. The American ambassador to Kenya has also resigned. He was a Republican state of Illinois senator before being appointed as an ambassador to this country. And therefore, along other so many ambassadors who have already resigned in the African countries, they want to give Joe Biden an opportunity to form a new policy for Africa. So I hope that Kenyan can be able to benefit from the Joe Biden presidency. And wale wa Kenya walikuwa naogopa kwenda US, sasa tunaweza enda.
Unaweza enda America.
Trump is gone. Trump is gone.
Back home, my guru makes a turnaround. Najua Kirori upendi siasa, lakini siasa itabidi umeongelea kwa sababu penseli. Kama siasa hakuna penseli ya Yesu uzwa.
No, it's very simple, I mean, let's speak facts as they are. From Juja, BBI right now, ikienda vote, itaanguka. That's a fact. You see, it's the way it's perceived on the ground. Ukijaribu kuongea stories za BBI, basically what they are saying, vile Kangata alisema, Wegoro anasema, and many others who are quiet. Right now in Central Province, story ya BBI is a no-show. Hakuna pali inaenda, dead on arrival. So, it's good what she said. It's good advice. Make sure or try as much as possible, Mr. President, to involve everybody. Basically what she's simply saying is, can you also, since it's a handshake and BBI is supposed to unify everybody, can you get in the DP to get into the fold? Basically I think that's what she's saying. Because it's supposed to unify everybody, not some people and then others they feel they are left out. And then also there are some things, I don't want to discuss so much about BBI, but there are some things in that BBI it did not capture very well. Let me just give one example. The presidential petition, according to the Constitution, it takes what? Is it 2 weeks? For yes? To sort out the presidential petition. It only takes 2 weeks. And that's a lot of data. There's a lot that goes into it. Yet, because the Constitution says that, it has been done twice and everything was sorted out in 2 weeks. Now, in our country, the Auditor General, for many years, donkey years, has said a third of our budget is stolen. Basically, it is looted due to corrupt practices. One of the things that should be in that BBI, as far as I'm concerned, is there should have been like a time limit. Every corruption case must be dealt with maximum 3 months. And then simplify issues. How do you get money? To get money corruptly, it means you've gotten money from government you did not work for. Therefore, a simple life is its own reward. Therefore, if in Kirori's account or whoever's account it is, if money from government is found in your bank account and you did not do anything, you did not supply anything, you did not manufacture anything, you did not do any service to government, and money has found itself into your bank account, automatically you are guilty and you should be jailed. And to me, because this corruption thing has really messed the country, it should be, if you are found guilty of an economic crime, because this is an economic crime, you are jailed for 30 years without fine. Not this thing we saw some time back. I can't remember which ministry. There was some funds, some 10 billion. And they said if you are caught having tried to steal or siphon part of all or part of that money, you'll be jailed for a few months or a fine of 10,000 shillings. Somebody steals 100 million and then you tell him to pay 10,000 shillings. That doesn't make sense. In fact, you're encouraging. But if you say, if you are caught with government money in your account and you cannot account how that money reached into your bank account and it reached there and you started using it and you didn't do anything, if you're told you'll be jailed for 30 years without option of fine. Tumeanza kudili stories of corruption. That's what memaliza. So those are some of the things I tend to think should be in that BBI document. But anyway, walisema hii sifunguliwe, sijui vile kutaenda. Wacha tuone bila
ni box ya Father Christmas. Mzifungue mongoja iko zawadi.
Lakini kuna kitu wa friend hapa amesema about China being a threat to the states. And also that we hope that first of all, also you also said no African president got a good deal from Trump.
Yes.
So whichever deal that they got, Trump got the better part of it.
Yes.
So you give him an A1. That's a clever guy.
Yes.
Yes. So we cannot blame him for him being bright as far as that part is concerned. No, me how I look at it is this way. Let's learn from the Chinese.
Yes.
About 30 years ago, where was China? It was nowhere in the economic map. Right now, you can hardly open a magazine and not find many things about China.
That's true.
Why? Because almost everything is made in China. That did not happen by accident. It was deliberate attempts. Good policies that favored them, and now, over a number of years, they are now a force to reckon with. Likewise, for us, it's good that if we can get good deals from the states and any other countries, but I believe our first obligation is to ourselves. What is it that we have, or what is it that we can do to make sure that we get the best deal for ourselves within, before we start looking for other deals outside? And one of the issues is, how do we create employment? Because that's a major problem here in the country. So that's one of the things that I think should be addressed.
All right. Coming back to Mushendu, Governor Anne Waiguru makes a time the other day, niliona alikuwa sijui wapi. Amekuja akasema the document, let our people read, then we'll decide which direction to take and we do. She has made a turnaround. Another thing, kuna mtu ameniandikia hapa akaniambia pale Kiambu tulifukuza Waititu, lakini Uwenu ni kama anavuruta na vacuum cleaner. Nilisema Waititu alikuwa anaiba, lakini nasikia Uwenu anatumia pipe kubwa.
Let me first
anatumia
of
pipe ya
all
2 meters wide. What's going on in Kiambu? Mnakula sana Mushendu.
Wacha kwanza niseme mambo ya Waiguru. You know, Kangata told the president the truth. BBI Central Kenya. That is a fact. Mtu asikudanganya bitoko. Ikikuja saa hizi kwa vote Kiambu, it's dead on arrival. Therefore, anybody supporting BBI in Kiambu is signing a death warrant. Purely politically.
Actually, not Kiambu,
Central Kenya. If you are supporting BBI, wewe na siasa zako kaburini pop. Waititu wameona ni mtu anaitwa Waiguru wameona mwangaza. And these people, it's only that Waiguru cannot wake up one morning and join the Hasra movement. She has to actually anakuja tu pole pole. But the truth of the matter is that most of the elected leaders have put so much effort on BBI, they forgot about development. They forgot about kids are going back to school. They require bursaries. They require good classes. Most of them forgot about it and concentrated on BBI. Subsequently, the members of Central Kenya started detesting BBI. Not that because the document is as bad. It is because there are people who are putting more efforts on the document rather than the canon responsibilities they were given as elected members, turning around economy. Those are the most important things to Wanjiku. So therefore, when you come to tell Wanjiku, who has not been able to raise the school fees about BBI, anakuambia uende ukiendanga. That's the yes, that's the honest truth. Look at Kangata. Kangata is just a moment away from turning against the same government. Kangata is looking to become the Murang'a governor. He has set himself on a very top position. He is now the
so kwa ground kama unataka kuwa governor lazima uende against
my friend. You have to. Yesterday there was a meeting yesterday of the Mount Kenya East governors, because it was very funny that the entire Murang'a County was missing from that meeting. The governor was missing, the senator was missing, the women rep was missing, the members of parliament were missing. They were trying to strategize on BBI. It is a clear indication, and the president, if he is true to himself, he must realize that BBI is not the way to go in Central Kenya. I want to believe that Bitok, if you come to tell my father about BBI, my father will first of all worry about, he's a farmer, he's a daily farmer. He will worry about what is his farm going to make, what are the government policies on issues. Can you imagine that the cost of production has remained constant, but somehow the farmer has been receiving less and less, and the manufacturer is receiving threefold of what he was receiving 8 years ago. There is a very big disparity in terms of that. So therefore, it is not a surprise to me that Waiguru is on her way out of Kieleweke. If you remember, who popularized the deputy president in Kirinyaga? If you people have a memory, the deputy president in the first term, he was in and out of Kirinyaga every other day, courtesy of Waiguru bringing him there. And you know, Waiguru then was just as he was a CC, he was a CC, CS, that is, of the national government. I come to Kiambu. I have seen a tweet that is a reading trend on Twitter yesterday. They were saying the Honorable Bunyoro, the conman. Around somewhere last week, Bitok, somebody leaked in accounting. There is something called a management letter, where your internal auditors raises question on your spending and how you have spent the money. And then they will write that letter to the management so that they can clarify. That is before the Auditor General comes in to audit. So somebody, whether in good faith or maliciously, leaked the management letter. It is that letter is between the internal auditor and the county government. So that letter was leaked. In that letter, there is quite a number of accusations on how the county government has spent the money. Now, my point is this, Bitok, another problem I have with Kiambu County. If the executive indeed spent that money as it is being said in that management letter, they spend that money after a budget has been passed, an appropriation bill has been signed into law, and you start appropriating what has been budgeted for. So therefore, there is one group that has rigged that letter, is the County Assembly of Kiambu. If there is one group that has no moral authority to lecture people of Kiambu about corruption in the executive, it is the County Assembly of Kiambu. They passed this budget. They ensured that that appropriation bill becomes law. And if the executive is actually spending money, it is spending money in accordance with the budget, because that management letter is not saying that the executive spent money outside the budget. They are spending money in accordance to the budget that was passed by the Kiambu County Assembly. It cannot be, whether the executive has misappropriated or not, it cannot be that the Kiambu County Assembly are the people who want to stand there and tell us how evil the executive is. If indeed there is corruption in Kiambu, the County Assembly of Kiambu is in the middle of it. We have not had a county assembly in the entire republic that is corrupt like the County Assembly of Kiambu. In the first 5 months when the MCAs were actually sworn in, they were being ferried around by county executive cars because they did not have money. They have not given biodata so that they are able to get loans from the bank. So they were being ferried, courtesy of the former governor Waitito, they were being ferried by county executive cars. They knew very well there is what we call separation of power between the executive and the assembly. But somehow they were being ferried by vehicles fueled by the executive. That is one. Number two, over almost 40 MCAs in that assembly are contractors in the same government. That is the most sad thing. As an MCA, when you are elected, you have 3 canon duties that are provided for you in the Constitution. You are a representative of the people, you do oversight, and you register it. There cannot be that you are a contractor with the same government that you are supposed to oversight. There is conflict of interest, and I hope that the relevant bodies that investigate people will investigate these MCAs. These MCAs, some of them were walking around with nothing. We can, even if you made so many allowances in the county assembly that you are paid up to 300,000 a month, there are MCAs who have moved from point A to point Z, just like Springboks, like that. and their lifestyle has just changed. Where, as you have said, can we audit these people's lifestyle? These county assembly members were being paid allowance according to that management report. Can you listen? According to that management report, one committee of agriculture was paid allowances up to 9 million shillings by the executive. There is a very clear separation of power between the executive and the county assembly. Then you have those MCAs, I hear they want to call a press conference to come and tell us how Kiambu is corrupt. Shame on you. You are the face of corruption of Kiambu. Because you people, you are the contractors in...
Are you mad that the document was leaked? Or?
No, I am actually happy that document was leaked, Bitok, so that we can fix people. Before we start interrogating that document on how executive has spent money, we must say without fear of contradiction that if there are people who will be relevant in the debate of corruption, is the County Assembly of Kiambu. They start with no moral authority to come and tell us how corruption has been propagated in Kiambu. Have you raised enough questions in the assembly? Is being your oversight role as the members of the county assembly, hii pesa ikikuliwa mulienda bunge kusema ilikuliwa? Did you ask the relevant question? Did you, these people, they are coming to our all WhatsApp groups to come and rant. We did not elect them to come and rant to us. In fact, the people of Kiambu executed their mandate in the Article 1 of the Constitution, which says that the power, the sovereignty of this Constitution belongs to the people. They might exercise it directly or indirectly through their elected leaders. We elected these guys to exercise our sovereignty on our behalf. But instead of doing that, they want to come to our WhatsApp group, to our Facebook group, to our Telegram groups to come and rant. And these rants are being read by an MCA from your constituency, Juja. The MCA, the Honorable Julius Taki, who is my personal friend. I want to tell the County Assembly of Kiambu, you have failed to do your oversight duty because you are coming to rant because you want the executive to actually call you to a meeting in Naivasha and give you something. And then the Wajiko debate becomes irrelevant. We shall not allow you to become relevant in the debate of corruption in Kiambu. You have failed. You have been part and parcel of this corruption. As we interrogate how the executive has spent our money, we must say it without fear of contradiction and categorically state that the County Assembly of Kiambu do not have the mandate. They do not have the moral authority to come and lecture the people of Kiambu on how the executive has misused our money. This assembly sent Waitito home because he could not give to their demands. As much as Waitito has his issues to answer, this assembly sent him home because they did not get their hearts in the cookie jar. It's the same thing. They want to make Wanjiko a pawn in a game of chess where they throw words at each other between them and the executive because they want to get their cards in the cookie jar. We shall not allow Kiambu to go to the dogs because of this MCA. You must be so ashamed of yourself. Led by my MCA, who is the majority leader, who I would categorically say, I will never call you a majority leader again. I would rather call you the leader of majority failures in Kiambu.
Kama Nyora akulipe milioni 2 kwa mwezi, anakosea sana watu wa Kiambu. Anakosea executive.
I did not talk about the executive. I don't want to talk about the executive until I have time to interrogate that document. What I have said is that the County Assembly of Kiambu cannot stand to tell us about corruption. As the citizens of Kiambu interrogate how the executive has spent money, because I will tell you, it will be very ill of us to start talking about a management report. A management report is not the Auditor General's report. We are expecting that the Auditor General will also have his findings so that we can compare the two. And if indeed the executive has eaten money of Kiambu, we shall call them out.
Narudisha.
We shall call them.
Haya, naangalia comments hapa. Meanwhile, producer atatengeneza video of the day. Alex Ogura sema happy new year. Some merchandise iko happy this year. Sasa tunatengeneza merchandise ya THETACKLE. Kenny Robertson sema Gerald, don't forget today they will steal 2 billion before end of business. Sijui sasa hizo mafikisha ngapi? Abbas Diguna anasema mweupe kama pamba has realized that she is nowhere near deputizing kitendawili simply because the BBI ship is sinking. Wananchi have opened their eyes and no amount of campaigns or money would help to save the document. She now wants to fight for a political future. It's quite interesting that now at this age and era, it's being on the right side by being away from government. For the first time in history of this country, being outside government or being against the government is a capital, is a political capital in the ground. Gilira Boy says, Gerald Bitok, upper states, we have already kicked Trump out office today, but it was 4 years of hell. Kenyans are watching. That is Alex Ogero. Asama, I missed the tackle. Welcome back, guys. Mushendu, happy new year. Happy new year to you, Alex Ogero. Sana mwema, Steve mwema. Governor Mushendu anatetea Governor Nyoro. Anatuambia wapi, unajua nimeona ni competition of morality. Amesema it's okay question, but you don't have the moral authority. So it means the Kiambu is completely rotten. Is now saying which one is the better devil.
I tell the Kiambu residents, we made our bed, we must lie on it.
We complete the journey. Daktari Nyoro, firstborn of BBI. Producer, video of the day.
Folks, sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride, because I'm going to take you on a wild ride tonight with the hard questions. Did I hear correctly? 2 billion shillings of mine and your tax money mysteriously disappears each and every day. Question to UK, what are you doing about it? Second question, what do you want us to do about it if you aren't doing anything? Do you know what 2 billion shillings can do for the Kenyan people each and every day? The Kenya police need decent housing and a pay rise. Yes, that can be sorted. Do you know what else? The nurses and the doctors can be well taken care of. Do you know what else? Our teachers who have nurtured us since childhood can get a decent pay and live a fantastic life. Do you know what else 2 billion can do? It can get the children of Kenya laptops and decent classrooms. Do you know what else? I can go on and on and on. We can create industries and create employment, but no. No. You know, folks, sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride, because I'm going to take you on a wild ride tonight with the hard questions. Did I hear correctly? 2 billion shillings of mine and your tax money mysteriously disappears each and every day. Question to UK, what are you doing about it? Second question, what do you want us to do about it if you aren't doing anything? Do you know what 2 billion shillings can do for the Kenyan people each and every day? The Kenya police need decent housing and a pay rise. Yes, that can be sorted. Do you know what else? The nurses and the doctors can be well taken care of. Do you know what else? Our teachers who have nurtured us since childhood can get a decent pay and live a fantastic life. Do you know what else 2 billion can do? It can get the children of Kenya laptops and decent classrooms. Do you know what else? I can go on and on and on. We can create industries and create employment, but no. No. You know what is being pushed? A document that will magically transform Kenya from what it is today into a Singapore or a Korea. Your handshake buddy goes around blaming your former partner for things you haven't done. Do we look like fools? I'm not a fool. No one is a fool. We're tired of being taken for a ride. Are you tired? Somebody say, I'm tired. We're not taking this anymore. Somebody needs to be accountable, and you know who is going to be accountable.
And these are the questions that people ask. Even in India, I saw the other day they were saying, okay, you guys are telling us that it's not safe for us to come out and do the business that we do. The Bahawanas entertainment industry is collapsing. Businesses are collapsing. But politicians are thriving every day. They're doing business. And you see, we're closing up these guys because of coronavirus. And, you know, these guys are coming out to also speak in their own way and ask, you know, all right, you guys are we have all these problems we're talking about. Let's talk about the 2 billion, for instance. The president comes out and admits that actually the government loses 2 billion every day. A week ago, he was telling us that I'm in control of this government and I know what I'm doing. A week later, 2 billion is lost every single day. As we speak, what time is it? I think it's 9, 10. So I think
lost,
around 200 million.
200 million has already gone.
200 million? 200 million and
And this is according to the president
himself.
of the Republic of Kenya.
Antony, how does that make you feel? First of all, the president is retreating to his native ground, talking about addressing Kenyans on the state of the nation.
Yes.
They retreats to vernacular stations and speak to the nation. Secondly, comes out to admit that 2 billion is lost every single day. How does that make you feel as a businessman and as a Kenyan?
As JKL was saying, 2 billion, what can he do? But there's a question that he kept on asking. I think he repeated it 3 or 4 times. We can create industries, we can create employment. I think we need to look at that. But before I get to that, I'll just say it is shameful. He has the instruments of power at his beck and call. Therefore, it is very easy for him to, my assumption is it's easy for him to bring in whatever problem it is. Whatever this money is leaking, whatever it's been stolen at the end of the day, there is a trail. Follow the money trail. Wherever the money ends up, jail those people. 30 years, no option of fine. Kazi meisha, mapema. Then now we can discuss other issues about creating employment. I've seen somebody has sent me a message here that you mentioned about creating employment, lakini hukumaliza. Nimalize.
Endelea na employment.
Very good. Let me give an analogy. There are 2 villages. Village moja tutaita village Wajanja. The other village will baptize it baadaye. So for right now we'll just call it village X. In village X, they have a lot of good soil, fertile soil, good rivers, and they grow a lot of food. Very, very fertile. Now, village Wajanja, their soil is what you'll call Nduvia. There's nothing that can grow on that particular village. So what do the inhabitants of village Wajanja do? They go to village X and then they buy the uncooked potatoes, the uncooked rice, raw meat. They take it to their village Wajanja. Then they cook the food and then they take it back to village X. Now, when they are going to buy, they'll buy, let's say, a ton of food, mixed food, let's say, for about 5,000 shillings. They go and they cook it, they bring it back, and then they sell it for 1,000,000 shillings. And the guys in village X are very happy about that. Let me ask you, hapo, nani mjinga nani mjanja? Village X.
Wajinga sana.
Wajinga sana, eh?
Yes.
Now, let's put it in a different context. There's a country called Kenya, and there's a country called Japan. Do you know in Kenya, we have a lot of iron ore? I remember some time back, the Laikipia County said that the iron ore, they did a bit of a feasibility study. The iron ore they found in Laikipia is enough for commercial mining. We have iron ore in Funyula. We have iron ore in Taita. I think Zit Kishasha mines, they export 7,500 tons of iron ore every single month. There's iron ore in Embu. Now, we export this iron ore. And here we get about 5,000 shillings per ton. So that means in every 2 tons, we'll get 10,000 shillings. Now, 2 tons of iron ore, you require 1.5 tons of iron ore to get 1 ton of steel. So 2 tons of iron ore will give you about what? 1.3, 1.4 tons of steel. So now we export iron ore at 10,000 shillings for 2 tons. Some people in Japan will import that iron ore. They will convert it into steel, and then they've bought it from us at 10,000 shillings, the 2 tons. They convert it to steel, and then they'll make a Toyota RAV4 car, which, when it comes back here, that Toyota RAV4, we buy it at 5.5 million. So, basically, I am giving you, or we give them our raw material in form of iron ore at 10,000 shillings for 2 tons. They go, they work on it, add value, bring it back to us in the form of a RAV4, which weighs about 1.2 tons, at 5.5 million. Nani mjanja, nani mjinga hapo? Haya. Now, let's look at it this way. In 2019, the GDP per capita, for our viewers, per capita means all the money that GDP per capita means all the money that is in the country, that the country made in a specific year, if it was divided by the total population, what will each person get? So in 2019, the GDP for Japan was $40,247. Now in Kenya, we are paid on a monthly basis. If you convert that money by the current exchange rate, I think it's around 110 shillings, then divide by 12 months, it means every person in Japan got 369,000. So on average, the lifestyle is worth 369,000. And remember, Japan is one of the countries with zero natural resources. If you Google the 10 countries with zero natural resources, Japan features there. Kenya has a lot of natural resources. Now, Kenya, with all our natural resources, our GDP per capita 2019 was 1,817. Multiply that by 110, divide by 12, we are living a lifestyle, everybody in Kenya would have gotten about 17,000 shillings. So now, remember those people in Village X? They have a lot of resources.
Yes.
Kenya has a lot of resources, but our lifestyle is worth 17,000 shillings. Another country that has zero resources, they import from us, they add value, meaning they're creating employment for their own nationals, for their own citizens. Whenever they finish making, they export it back to us in a different form. We buy from them at 5.5 million. Their lifestyle is a lifestyle worth 369,000 per month. Wacha nikuulize, someone who lives maisha ya 17,000 na mtu anaishi 369,000, are you in the same category?
No, you're not.
We are not in the same category. And now we keep on complaining that hakuna kazi. Hakuna kazi. I believe that is not true. Opportunities for work ziko. Ile kitu tumekosa ni kufikiria vizuri. Hatufikiri vizuri. There is lack of proper thinking. That's where the problem is. Bwana Bitok, you said I don't like politics. That's not really accurate. I do love politics. I enjoy politics. But then now, we need to look at it this way. Why is it us as a country, we are suffering that way? Why is it that we have so many resources, yet we are living maisha ya 17,000 when other people with no resources wanaishi maisha ya 369,000? I will say this. This is one of the political aspect comes in. Every 5 years, lazima tuchague watu. But then, when it comes to voting, we normally vote for the people who either give us 50 shillings, sijui ni reflector. You know, they want to give us campaign goodies. But we don't interrogate, especially for the National Assembly. One of the things, I was lucky I met those guys of BBI some time back, and I tried to propose they should change the name from August House to House of Ideas. So that mtu mashinani akisikia imebadilishwa from August House ama National Assembly ama Parliament to House of Ideas, what does that mean? Chagua mtu kwa mashinani who has ideas, ikifika bunge, it will improve your quality of life. But now us, we vote people who spend, actually, it's like a catch-22 situation. Or let's say we fried our own goose. Yeah? Because as voters, we demand to be bribed. That is corruption. So somebody has to bribe us. Atupatie 50 bob, atupatie 100, anunue reflector, sijui shuka, unga. Ule atatupatia mingi, ndio tunachagua. Huyo mtu tukishamchagua kisha ingia bunge, akona loan. He spent 50 million, whatever it is, 10 million, whatever it is. So his first priority ni kurudisha hiyo pesa. So where does Wanjiko come in? What we need to do as Kenyans is tuangalie how is the state of our life right now. It is not desirable because we're living maisha 17,000. Now, there's a saying, it is only, what is it? Is it only a fool or an idiot who does something the same way and expects different results? So, come 2022, I would urge fellow Kenyans, fellow Wanjiko, tafadhali hii wakati ingine, tusiangalie maneno ile pesa tunapewa, the campaign goodies. Tuangalie people with ideas that can change our country. So that, like for instance, if it was in Parliament, one of the things I would say is no natural resource should ever be exported from our country in its raw form. So kama ni hiyo chuma,
tushage kwanza.
Kwanza tuipeleke hapa Juja, tuna viwanja mingi sana. Tuanze kutengeneza vitu rahisi, vijiko, masufuria. And then hata kama ni mpaka wheelbarrows made in Kenya. And then also because kuna watu kama wana MUCHENDU, he did electrical engineering. Also did electrical engineering. Let's look at the national issue. I mean global. Europe, or rather Britain, have said come 2030 they no longer use vehicles that use either petrol or diesel. They'll only use electrical cars. Si tuanze kutengeneza basi hizo magari huku Kenya. Let's get whatever technology that is going to change our country kabisa. Lakini tukiendelea hii politics ati sikupewa na sijui nataka shuka, sijui nataka leso, nataka reflector, nataka 50 bob, alafu chagula mtu ananipatia ile mingi, alafu sitamwona tena until after 5 years. Tutaendelea kuishi maisha ya 17,000. But yes, but if we vote wisely, we think in terms of policies, hizo ndio zile zitabadilisha maisha yetu. And it will take less than 10 years for Kenya to become the new China.
All right. Mushendu, your brief comments. I see naona tuko na dakika 10. Your brief comments on the song and the video of the day?
I would say that it is very sad that the President of the Republic will come to a vernacular stations, to be precise 7 vernacular stations, and confirm that under his watch 2 billion shillings zinaenda kila siku. It is 920, sasa labda tumefika 250.
Imesonga kidogo, nimeona imefika 203.
Kitu kama hiyo, something of the sort. And we are continue reminding our viewers this is in accordance to the President of the Republic of Kenya. I would say that that was rather unfortunate for him to make that comment. It's like that donkey attitude that I cannot do anything as a president. Then when you confirm that 2 billion shillings are being lost every day in your government and you cannot do a thing about it, are you telling us that you have terribly failed as the head of government and as the head of state? That's my opinion. If you look at that video, that guy has quite stated a number of things that Kenya shillings, 2 billion shillings can do. I will tell you this, 2 billion shillings can pay the salaries of Kiambu County for 4 years. The salaries can land government, Kiambu County government for 4 years. 2 billion shillings. 2 billion shillings, if given, it can complete all the 7 hospitals under construction in Kiambu County. 2 billion, if given, we can grade if you're grading every kilometer at a cost of 600,000. You can imagine how many kilometers we can grade and gravel in Kiambu County. 2 billion shillings is a lot of money. It is. Let me tell you, in essence, of what a billion shillings is. Today, Bitok, if I give you 1 billion shillings, na tukubaliane, you will be spending 100,000 per day. Na ukishindwa kumaliza unapeana. You will consume 1 billion shillings for 28 years.
At 100,000 per day.
At 100,000 shillings per day. You will consume it
kukula mia kila siku.
100,000 kila siku. Utakuwa ukikula hiyo miaka yote. That is why unasikia mtu ni bilionea na bado anaimba Kenya. There is a spirit in the Bible that it is gluttonous. Is it, what do you call it? There are people in this republic with a spirit of being gluttonous.
Great.
Yes, they have a lot. They have enough, but they still want more. They have more than enough. They still want. That is the truth of that billion. Today, an average Kenyan will spend, akitumia pesa nyingi sana, will spend, Bitokia will spend, ametumia pesa nyingi sana, on average, he would spend 3,000 shillings a day. Amefuel 1,000, amekunywa kahawa ya Java, amekula lunch hapa Radisson Brew, na nyumbani 3,000. Now, imagine what a billion will do to change the life of a normal Kenyan out there. And the President of the Republic is standing on the peripheries of State House, addressing his community from Central Kenya, that 2 billion shillings is being lost in this republic. It's such a shame. You tell us, because my belief is this, Bitok. If you have calculated and known 2 billion shillings is being lost in a day, you as well know the channels under which that 2 billion is being lost. I cannot come and say that 2 billion got lost. Money is allocated to departments. Departments allocate EIE authority to individuals. So if 2 billion is being lost, you can as well tell us under which channels that 2 billion is going. Therefore, you become culpable. And tell us, hii pesa inaibiwa na Bitok na Muchendu na my friend here. You tell us. You cannot come and rant there about. And then there is something he has said that I have a very big problem with. It is like BBI is going to transform our economy to that of Singapore. That guy has alluded to that fact. That BBI is a magical thing. The president is standing there telling us in our French, we have a very deliberate plan for health. For heaven's sake, you have been the president for 8.5 years. It is crazy that the implementation, the planning period is 4 times more than the implementation period because you only have 1.5 years left. So you are telling us for 8.5 years you have been planning so that you can implement in 1.5 years. Those I see people they are calling them Uhuru Kenyatta logics. Those logics do not add up. It is like the logics of rotational presidency. When you are being sworn in, the baton was passed to you from a Kikuyu to another Kikuyu. You could not see the logics of saying that the community has served so much. Now that you have enjoyed the presidency to the full capacity, you now feel that it is now that this country has not been ruled by 2 communities. It has been ruled by a few families, masquerading as the representative of our community. Our community has not ruled. What have I gained as MUCHENDU simply because Kikuyu is a president? I mean, people have been oppressed. Nyamakima people have lost business. Kikuyu was still the president. The business of Kenyans to China has been affected. Kikuyu sitting on the presidency. So therefore, Mr. President, I thank you for doing that interview because you brought us revelation that 2 billion shillings are being lost in your government. Please ufanye hesabu. Can you divide 2 billion shillings by 24 hours? Tuone kila siku. Can you do that hesabu quickly?
Na kuna vile wanaweza tugawia kila mtu akulanga.
I want to 2 billion shillings divide by 24 hours and we will tell you up to now how much money has
83 million.
As Kirori is doing the calculation.
83 million.
83 million. So the president came to the vernacular stations and fellow Kenyans. He actually confirmed to you that every hour in Kenya, 83 million shillings
is being lost.
So for that, very sad.
From inaanzanga midnight ama asubuhi?
Inaanzanga midnight.
Inaanza midnight. So
let me tell you one time. Wacha nikwambie one time. Ujue midnight inaanzanga. You remember there was no time na Kenya was ilikuwa juu kama unaweza kumbuka. So the proponent of na Kenya then in Limuru was the former MP, the late Kuria Kanyingi. So everybody was planning to do the nomination on that particular day of nomination. And by the time they came to the ballot booth at 8 a.m., he was telling people the day starts at midnight. We have already done the nomination with those people who showed up. the nomination was rated for 5th of February. For 5th of November. We have done it. And the person in charge of the election was at the polling station at 2 a.m. in the morning. Yes, you cannot go to the court and claim that the nomination was done. We did not give the specific time. We only gave a day.
Guys, even as we finish up, I want us to take a switch from something that MUCHENDU has already mentioned about business. You look at the tax regimes in this country, and the other day the KRA released other tax schedules, even taxing us, guys who are operating online. You're actually going to be taxed from February. You know, for your own. Do you pay me to come here? Has anybody paid me?
No.
But they're going to tax me just for sitting here and having a conversation with Kenyans. I don't get any revenue from this. You don't pay me to be a panelier?
No, of course not.
So they're going to tax us. So let's look at the tax regime that is happening in this country. They want to tax everything. Every single thing. Even if you scream at night, they'll still tax it. They want to tax everything. Businesses are collapsing. No, seriously. Everything in this country is going to be... No, seriously. I mean, because how do you tax? I mean, how do you tax things like this? There seems to be a serious desire from government to tax every other thing that you do. When you make a turn, they are there to tax you. Now, businesses are collapsing. The government itself has been collapsing. It is running broke. During the year in 2020, businesses went down because of coronavirus, and the government has admitted that it has not been able to meet its revenue targets because of coronavirus. We've been suffering the same thing, even as people who do business as well. The government is saying now, we understand we've been suffering, we understand you've also been suffering, but we need more money from you. Business have collapsed. Look at the giant like Tuskys. Tuskys today is under the water. It has collapsed. And there's something that really keeps bothering every time. When we talk about business collapsing, we just look at the business collapsing. We just say it's news, just news. But we never really get to understand that behind the collapsing of business, there are livelihoods. There are suppliers who are going down. There are families who are affected. There are workers who have been affected. There's a range of wide people who have been affected. There are people who are sitting at home today depressed because they cannot be able to make any money since their companies collapse. Suppliers are crying. Madeni zimewakalia. Workers are crying. And this country, there seems to be no policy whatsoever, that needs to have a conversation around ensuring that business don't collapse, and also focusing on actually ensuring this business survive. Even if it collapses, we can find a way to recover them. We are all doing business here. I am a businessman. MUCHENDU is a businessman as well. Where you are a businessman. It's so difficult to do business in this country.
True.
Kabla uanze biashara kwanza uko na catalog ya certificates. A whole wall. Umeweka certificate ya hii, permit ya hii, unajaza ukuta ya 3 meters by 3 meters. Umeshajaza only certificates and permits in this country. The tax regime taxes you to your last drop of blood. What does that make you feel? Where do you think is the turnaround in this country when it comes to management of tax regimes and also business, survival of businesses? What's your feeling?
I will answer it this way. We have wasted a huge opportunity. Corona imeharibu biashara sana. But even in that corona, in every disaster, in every crisis, there are always opportunities. What do I mean by that? On 26th of August, Bwana MUCHENDU, on 26th of August 2020, Kenya became the first country in the world to receive the Safer Tourism Seal within the corona pandemic. Meaning, Kenya is a safe destination despite the corona. I was so excited when I saw that because I knew that either the president and the CS, both the president and the CS of tourism, they are going to shout to the whole world and tell them we have received the Safer Tourism Seal. So Kenya is a safe destination. Why would that have been so important? It's because around 21st of December, we were taught in primary school that the sun at that time is on top of the Tropic of Capricorn. That's in the southern hemisphere. Meaning the northern hemisphere, it's very cold. So Europe and America wako na winter. Now, if there's one thing I've learned from this corona thing, it does not like hot temperatures, but it thrives very well in cold areas. Now, that is a huge opportunity we wasted. There's a guy called Fred Finn. Fred Finn is the most traveled person in the world. He's traveled over 150 countries. He came to Kenya, and it was reported, I think, on 27th of November last year, that Kenya actually is indeed a safe tourism destination. Now, unfortunately, our government never did anything. What would I have expected them to have done? The president and the CS tourism should have shouted to the whole world and told the people that, especially the ones in Europe, over 740 million people in Europe, between Europe and North America, it's over 1 billion people. Awambie, if you have a relative or a friend with pre-existing conditions and winter is coming, come to Kenya. We've received the Safer Tourism Seal. Fred Finn, the most traveled person, has given us a seal of endorsement. Kujeni Kenya, because our temperatures at that time, they are quite hot. Na waseme hivyo kama kwanza wako Mombasa on a very hot day. Waseme kama wako Mombasa, waseme kama wako Mara, come to Kenya so that, assuming we are brothers the way we are here, but maybe our parent or another brother or even one of us, it couldn't be me, or our sister, whoever it is, niko na kadiabetic hivi kidogo, so tunaogopa corona ikikuja, winter ikikuja. Winter is known as the flu season. Tunaogopa winter ikikuja, ikienda, may not survive. If we know there is a safe destination and $10,000 is not a big deal to us, mtaka kuniambia hautasema Kirori shike 10,000 uende Kenya?
You will.
Si tutasema hivyo?
Yes.
Now, what would have happened? Had that happened, and you know, like for instance, look at coronavirus. In US, the first 10 days, over 2 million people were seriously affected by the pandemic. Uko iko mbaya. In Europe, in Germany, UK, ni kubaya. So, what it would have done, as soon as you got the safer tourism seal, that was in August, going to September, they advertise. So that the people in Europe, the people in North America, wajue kule kuna a safe destination. They start booking. And they would have booked from around November up to March or April. Now, when those tourists would have come here, I spoke to someone from the Ministry of Tourism, and he told me that if had this idea gone through, would have gotten the creme de la creme, the very rich,
the who is who.
The who is who. Now, in 2019, we only had received 2.05 million tourists.
Yes.
This idea could have brought more than 5 million tourists. What would that have done? Hoteli zote zingeja, cottages zote zingeja. We would have started, let's assume you are bachelors, tungefika pahali, nikwambie bwana Mushendu, tufanye hivi, hii keja yangu, hii nyumba yangu, wacha nihamie kwako, to rent hii yangu, we get $10,000, that's $1 million per month.
Yes.
For 4-5 months, tutapata 5-6 million.
Yes.
Wakirudi in April, tugawane hiyo 5 million, wako na 2.5 million, kona 2.5.
Yes.
At the same time, when these people would have come here, hangeka Mombasa throughout, hangeka Nairobi, they don't see the Mara. Yes. But they not want to travel with other people. Wangeitisha gari yao peke yao. It doesn't matter kama ni Land Cruiser watu 10.
Yes.
Then wangesema dereva awekwe partition.
Yes.
Pale mbele.
Yes.
Na weke intercom.
Yes.
So that hewa yake isitufikie.
Yes.
You get? So more jobs are being created.
Yes.
They will need to eat. So our farmers, they get more market for their produce. When they get more market, ule jamaa wako na pickup hapo Juja. Ule jamaa akona lorry, they would have to transport that produce. Look at the effect.
Triple effect.
Now, in 2019, tourism was the third largest earner in Kenya. Tourism was the third largest earner. This time, ingekuwa, because of the pandemic, it could even have been either the second or the best. And then it would have cemented Kenya as a top safe tourism destination. Instead, what did we do? We did nothing. We did nothing. And then tukaanza kusema towards December, hakuna pesa, we need to start taxing people. So whatever rebates that government had given, hata kama biashara imeharibika, as Bitoka amesema, biashara imeharibika, watu wamevutwa kazi. So whatever little goodies or incentives, 14% VAT ilikuwa imepunguzwa, all that zimetolewa, and the worst part, watoto wanaenda shule. Why? Because we chose to do nothing. Shida, see, there was no opportunities in the corona. We have actually wasted the crisis. But it's not 100% wasted. Winter haijakwisha. Maybe, I hope the president is listening, and the CS. They can come and the positivity rate has been around 2-3% for almost a month now.
Yes.
They can still, it's still not too late. Wambia dunia, our positivity rate is about 3%, 2%. Basically, we've done more than the 14 days. Kenya is still safe. Fred Finn still said that. Winter inaendelea kwenye mpaka March or April. And we don't know about global warming, what will happen. Just in case ukona hiyo shida, you know, of a relative, we still have a safe destination. At least we see what little we can salvage.
But the Minister for Tourism is busy taking selfie with the British model, Naomi Campbell. You know, some of these things are just crazy.
Kuchukua selfie si vibaya if he had acted.
You see, the problem I have is he has overseen the worst crisis. You know, on 14th of December, it was sad to read that a hotel like Radisson Brew here closed down. You can imagine I had like 3 friends who are working there who are now jobless. I think for me is that this government fails to seize that opportunity to actually make money out of it. I'll tell you what I did during Corona. I am not a trained expert of computer things and everything, but when we were told not to go to church, we and some other guys in my church decided, why don't we take our church live on social media, Facebook, YouTube, whatever. Yes. So we will come and stream a service of like 1 hour. And as a result of doing so, I started receiving calls from other churches. Mushendu, come help us set up. By then I was now an expert of IT, one who has never gone to school to study IT. And I maximized on that particular period when people were not going to church. I was helping churches do online. We also brought our church, the Kenya Assemblies of God, online with our national handle. That tells you, during the coronavirus, I had another extra coin, for doing something that you were not doing before. So therefore, when you were talking about missed opportunity, this was a very missed opportunity for the Republic. I'll tell you why. Today, the biggest clientele for the marine tourism are the Italians. Italy was the most affected nation at a particular point by this pandemic. We could have capitalized by the love of Italian to this republic and build a safe haven for them to move away from Italy and come. But we didn't do it. Hotels in Maridi continued to close down or operated without any guest. So I think for me, as you have said, we have so much we can do to actually take this economy on a higher level. I'll tell you, and I keep repeating this and I will still repeat it. When we were investing money on Kazi kwa Vijana, Rwanda was investing money on innovation. That innovation has gotten them so many companies going there to do business, including some of our own people like the former general of the armed forces in Kenya, people like Daudi Tonje. They are serious business magnates in Rwanda, because Rwanda has provided an enabling environment for them to do business. And I think that is where we miss the mark. We are strategically positioned. We have so many advantages that people can come, but there is of business. In Kigali, you can land in Kigali at the airport, apply for a license or a company.
And they get it by the end of the day.
And by the end of the day, you have a registered company in Rwanda in one day.
Ready to do business.
Come try that in this Republic of Kenya.
File in Kenya.
Ukute kimotu ati unaambiwa upatie bitoku that % because you have to have a local investor. Why am I giving Bitok that % of my money? He has no idea what I want to do. He just sits there waiting with they are always, and you know, the problem, that is what we have, and most of the people who are shouting to their highest and to the rooftop fighting the DP, we know that is a business they do. That business of 30% requirement, we need to plug it.
Ilikuwa 10% sasa ikapanda.
Actually, they need to remove 27% and leave it at 3%. Because when you remember what Dangote said when he came, he has no reason to give somebody 30% of his business just because he is required to have a local investor do it. You know, and he was telling us, you want me to give 30% to a local partner who has no idea, has no vision about my business. You have a tax regime that is not consistent, that is overtaxing people who are actually bringing employment to this republic. You have an energy system that is not favoring. The cost of production in this country
it's very high.
It's just crazy, and it's very high. It is what has moved so many companies from Sub-Saharan Africa to Egypt. It is corruption. Most companies that left Kenya, they are now in Egypt. In the Nile,
Ethiopia.
Ethiopia and in the Nile Delta. Companies have started moving out of Ethiopia because we have a prime minister who is now massacring the Ethiopian. Today, as we are speaking, there is a serious massacre in the Ethiopia. Let us create an enabling environment for people to bring business to this republic.
You had mentioned about tax.
Yes.
You know, when the corona came in, fuel prices globally ziliteremka kabisa.
Yeah.
However, here in Kenya, ilipanda. Why? The government was very bright. Waliangalia wakaona that for the first time, corona came when? Was it in March?
Yes.
That's when it landed in Kenya.
Yes.
Between March and June, it affected us so much that for the first time ever, the budget that was read in 2020 was less than the previous year, yet it affected only 1 quarter, only 3.5 months.
Yes.
So in their wisdom, wakaona pesa ya mafuta imeteremka. So instead of us, we should be buying fuel now maybe at around 50 or 60 shillings. Wameongeza so that we are buying at 90 or 100 shillings so as to collect more tax. Yes, it was an innovative way for them to collect tax from us because people have to move. Granted, that was good. But just as they thought about that, why did they think of other different ways, more innovative ways? Na wakishindwa wanaanza badala ku tax bitok, wamwambie bitok, si ufanye show, tengeneza show, ulete wale watu wanaweza kuwa na ideas, hapo katikati tutakuwa tukiangalia, tukiona moja tick, tukiona nyingine
tunaweka investment.
Lakini
ni Kenya bwana. Hii ni Kenya watu pana taka akili, taka tu watu mkono ndefu.
Kanairo bana.
That brings my part in short brings a very important question.
I'll give you your tackle of the day. Your tackle of the day is now is when you give your parting shot. And you're close. But now let me go back to the comments briefly. Alafu nikirudi tutajua ni aje na pia tackle of the day. So tayari mwanzo kutengeneza mawazo. William Mwangi anasema Kirori, do we identify people to vote who have genuine ideas? Looks at the last election we elected some people down to earth guys who look genuine but are nowhere to be seen. Look at Jijo Pevu, Ujagwa and the rest wako wapi siku ya leo. Mwema Steve says I concur with Kirori. He is actually Kirori. Kirori will lack a reasonable thinking. President, I'm watching from Kisumu. Thank you so much. Governor Mushendu alikuwa amejibu hapa, I'm not. Governor Mushendu, I'm not. I have only said that our county assembly has no moral authority to talk about corruption in Kiambu. Ni mambo ya Kiambu. Sikia kura, lakini Mushendu amesema hatukuri.
By the way, unajua you tackle the comment.
You will tackle the
what Kiambu means. Kiambu is a letter that was derived into two words. Kiabu. People shouting.
Yes. Haya, mlieni watu wa Kiabu, especially Shaweri, we shout zaidi. Haya, Umara Ronald Macmillan anasema umoja iko locked sana Festus Mwana, spirit of greed. It's the spirit of greed. Mushendu following, I agree with you. Labosa Junior Bitoka sama watching from Rewet Village. Asante sana mzee. Idhegi wa Ithuria anasema ndani kabisa. Thank you for still watching from Mombasa. Thank you. Bas Njiguna, I like Sudi when he says no one would live up to the age of 500 years, considering how some people want to make life of other humans alone. Interesting. And then I'm watching from Eldama Ravine. Thank you, Jafat Kiyama from Nyari. Sasa watu wa Nyari. Thank you so much, Nyari guys. Salimia watu wako hapo Nyari Post. Daniel Mwanga sema from Kajiado Kirinyaga. In fact, it's the best from Kagio Kirinyaga. In fact, it's the best conversation I've had for a long time about tax. Keep up. Asante sana. It's not just not Diagogo's research and sema 82 billion lost every day. Alafu Ruto asema ataleta change na yeye ni second in command. Si akiingia atasema 6 billion is being lost daily. Maajabu ya Jubilee. Tumedi mwasa sana bitoa call mtu wa kawaida kama mimi kwa interview. Karibu sana bro, ndakuongelesha. Richard Michael anasema this guy is putting things in perspective. Where does the government get people to manage its ministries? Wala nyeti. Abbas Nugula is when demolitions took place in Nairobi and Kisumu, we didn't hear the community kingpins addressing their people in vernacular. That this was for their own good. When it comes to politics, they weaponize the community to help them fight their wars. Their selfish gains for the wajinga walisha, they have a rough time ahead. Sikia wajinga walisha Kenya hii. Mungai Kathogo amekuwa kilia sana, alisema alitengeneza vitanda ya watu kulalia kwenye hospitali, lakini akona deni ya 5 million as they speak. Mungai Kathogo sank 5 million lower because he was promised business by the government. The other day when the president was talking to us in the vernacular stations, he said he paid Mungai Kathogo. So Mungai Kathogo utatuambia ulipo pesa ngapi, kwa sababu unalia na rais mwenyewe alisema tulinunua vitanda. Sisi kuliendaje atatuambia.
Labda alipata 230%
nyingine anasema yajakula kitu yote. Mungai Kathogo analia sana. Anasema in Kenya
kuambia huyo kijana atalia tukiwa hapa.
Ulisema kabisa hapa. Nakumbuka
this is a man man society.
Ulisema atalia. Nakumbuka vizuri sana. Tutafuta soundbite Kathogo, tutafuta sound ungesikia Mushendu. Kama ungekuwa ulifika tackle ungesikia iwane kitambo. Ili hata utengeneze vitanda ya ng'ombe kula.
Mimi nilikuwa I told him please unless they give you cash and you make knowing that money is in the bank, deal with private hospitals. But I have a friend who I saw on Facebook engaging him and told him to engage him in inbox. They see if they can actually export what was made. I think that will do for him because it's rather unfortunate.
Mungai tutakusaidia unitumie vitanda nijaribu kuadvertise. Pole sana. Tujengane tuone vile kutenda. Lakini serikali nilikwambia ni mbaya sana. Haya. Ewe, hii maneno ya serikali mimi stop trading with government. They don't trade with government. Ministries are on trade. Trade with people who have their own budgets.
I have someone who did the job for a certain county 2014. to a tune of 54 million that has never been paid to date.
Mimi mwenyewe a certain county walinitisha pencils kupatia candidates in 2016, class 8 candidates. The ordered pencils worth 900,000. Hata si 1 million, 900,000. That was in 2016. Na zikapatianwa. Mpaka leo sijalipa.
Hujaiona?
Yes.
Mimi na county ni kama maji na mafuta. Siguzi county kama nifanyia nini? Siguzi. County utasema ni wapi kwa sababu anaanza kuwa rafiki yangu. Acha niwachane naye. Collins anasema great minds are like how you guys reason. Abbas Mjiguna anasema in Kenya they impose travel bans and reduce diesel petrol fuel prices and increased kerosene. What a joke. Bas Juguna. Bruce Lee Isadi anasema brilliant minds kindly extend this discussion tomorrow. Asante sana. Kesho ni sheria wiki. Kina Kurwa Court na kina Ogola, Steve Ogola, Barak Muluka na Kisiangane. Kesho ni mambo ya sheria wiki. So we will continue the conversation next week on mambo ya biashara and all this. Hereng anasema niko ndani. Asante sana. Kathleen Kate anasema president looks so helpless and it's a shame. We regret voting him in power. Bore ni sana. And then we get another one, then we regret again. 5 years we get another one, we regret. It's very beautiful. It's very beautiful.
It will change somewhere.
Let's continue the journey. Let's love suffering. You know, suffering is our portion. To suffer.
Kenya ni masafara.
Kirori, what's your tackle of the day?
Jina ni Kirori.
Oh, Kirori.
Not Karori.
Sorry, Kirori. Unajua tuko na Karori mwingine anakujanga show. That's why tunauma ulimi.
Kirori, think of a very big lorry. Ile lorry kubwa.
Kirori kubwa.
Kirori. But from where I come from, Kirori, it means korora, yani kuona mbali. Someone with vision.
Actually,
it was a prophet. In my language, it's a prophet or someone who sees very, very far. So jina ni Antony Kirori. So
nakumbuka gari ya kivi.
Yes.
Kirori kename.
Yes. You can look at it that way. Lakini unajua zamani kabla wazungu kuja kuwa na malori. So it was more from the prophecy side or someone with great vision. Yes.
Your tackle of the day.
Before I get my tackle of the day, I'll say this. All is not lost. Look at Cambodia. In the late 80s, walikuwa na shida mingi sana. The state of the economy was worse than ours. However, they got their act together. I think, is it last year but one? They exported over 10 million sports bikes to Europe alone. 10 million. What's the population? So how much did they earn from that? So what am I saying? All I'm simply saying is this. One, let's not lose focus. Let's not lose hope. Kuna mtu nimesikia kwa kiuliza, but kuna watu kadhaa walichaguliwa, but they changed or something like that. We should not lose hope completely. What I would advise is this. Mashinani, tafuteni watu with brilliant ideas. They may not have money to campaign. Instead, sisi kama Wanjiko uko mashinani, huyo mtu ako na brilliant idea, tuseme ni Bwana Bitok, mumshike, elevate him to that position bila yeye kutumia pesa yake. Kwa nini? Ndivyo akifika bunge atakuwa na deni yenyu. Hatakuwa na ile pesa aliuza shamba ama amechukua mortgage, aanze kufikiria ndio aanze kurudisha shamba. Sasa atakuwa kifikiria maneno yenyu. Ndio sasa mkishapata mtu kama yeye akishafika bunge and you already know the kind of ideas he has, it will be upon him to implement. His loyalty will not be to the political party. His loyalty will not be to the people who financed his campaign. His loyalty will be to the Wanjiko, hawa watu wa mashinani ambaye waliangalia wakaona Bwana Bitok, Bwana Kirori na mwingine wako na brilliant ideas that can change the state of our economy. Because let's face it, bila pesa, bila chapa, what do they say? The money is what makes the world go round. So kama huna pesa, maisha yako itaharibika. So I'm not saying, because I know somebody can say in the Bible it said the love for money is the beginning of evil. I'm not saying we love the money. And remember, it's the love for money. However, all I'm simply saying is this: tuchague the right representatives. Let's stop thinking of in terms of campaign goodies, but let's start looking for people with bright ideas. Kama ni bunge, tuangalie its house of ideas. Ni nani watatusaidia? Kama ni governor basically manages money. So who can manage this money, these funds wisely, nicely for the benefit of us? Hiyo itabadilisha maisha yetu, and in less than 10 years Kenya will become a very, very serious force, even better and bigger than China.
Hallelujah.
Thank you.
All right, you have any tackle of the day? Ya kuvunja ama umetosheka naye? Thank you so much. Mushendu, what's your tackle of the day?
It's 2021 and time is running very fast. 2022 is just around the corner. And Kenyans are just about to make the same silly mistakes they make in 2022. I keep on telling and I will keep shouting to the young people. If there is a year you need to make a change and have a paradigm shift when it comes to electing our leaders, it is in the year 2022. Let us not be cornered into the politics of tokenism. Let us focus on leaders who are going to deliver. And a leader who is going to deliver is not the leader who is going to come give you 200 shillings and 500 shillings. It is a leader who is going to come and give you an idea. I have seen in Limuru people who have come out with a very serious project like pig farming. I have a friend there who is doing pig farming, and he has now started a company making food, animal feeds that are quality. He has now built a slaughterhouse. He has then built a value addition company within his compound, and now reaching out to young people to actually invest in pigs. I have not heard that he wants to be anything, but for leaders, you need to look at people like those people who are innovative, people who are bringing you an idea that will an idea that is going to go beyond the election of 2022, an idea that can be an economic block for young people. Those are the kind of leaders that we need to look for. Over and above the politics of dynasty and the politics of hustlers and what have you, we need to go ahead and see that we get people who enact policies that we are going to affect our businesses positively. And I tell young people, now is the time the dance will start. The politics of deceit has already started. But in between that particular process, can you open up your wide eyes and pick leaders who are going to become the beacon of hope in the lives of young people? Because I keep on saying, China today, it is what it is today because they have invested in small businesses and medium level companies. There is no country in the world that will ever grow economically unless you invest on small businesses or the medium level companies. Those are what we call SMEs. And therefore, if this country is going to grow, it is going to grow because we get leaders who are going to start thinking on how to empower young people. And young people, I call upon you, don't wait for anybody to give you tax holiday. If you have an idea, just frontier that idea. You never know who is going to come along and propel that idea to what it is, what it can be today. So therefore, young people of this republic, as we start this year 2021, and as the politics of deceit kick off, I pray that you will become more knowledgeable, you will have wisdom, and when that time comes, we can pick leaders who are going to be placed as the beacon of hope for this country, and leaders who are going to propel the economy of this country to another level, because the end result of any government is to empower its citizen. You can only empower your citizen through building a serious economic bloc. And the current stream of leaders that we have has shown that they have no interest with young people. And therefore, young people, because you are the people who are being used to actually make more wrongs every time we go to the ballot, I pray that from now going forward, you shall look for leaders who are going to be able to deliver for you. Leaders with an innovative capability. I am not from Juja, but if Kirori was gonna be a candidate in Juja, I would say that somebody with the capacity to develop the things in young people, because this guy, instead of making pencils from wood, he's actually turning papers back to their original form. And then now, yes, papers engineering. That is the kind of innovation we are talking about in this republic. If he can be able to see an opportunity to make a pen, we have so many things that we don't need to import. we can make from here. So young people, take charge of this country. Hii nchi si ya mama ya mtu. Hii nchi ni yetu.
Thank you so much.
Niongeze kidogo. Kuna time niongeze kitu kidogo.
Ongeza 30 seconds.
Nitapitisha kidogo. Very simple. In 202, which was the party of the day? Ilikuwa ni NAK. In 207, NAK ilikuwa hapo. Which was the leading party? Ilikuwa PNU. Si ndio? In 2012, 2013, TNA and URP. Si ndio? And then 2017, Jubilee. We don't know about 2022. Wakenya wenzangu, tuachwe kudanganywa na chama. Kwa maana watu walitoka NAK wakaenda, ni kama nikuja nikupige ngumi ya macho nimevaa shati ya black, niende nje nikuje na ya blue, wanda kusema huyu ni mtu mzuri, nikuchape coffee, niende nikuje na shati ya green, huyu ni mzuri, niende nikuje nikuchape teke, nikuje na shati ya white, huyu ni mzuri. What am I saying? Tulikuwa na NAK was the ruling party in 2002, PNU 2007, TNA URP 2013, Jubilee 2022, hatujui about 2017, hatujui about 2022. Basically, tuchague, let's identify the right candidates for ourselves. Kwa maana, what do I want for you? What do I want for me? Nataka tutoke kwa hii maisha ya 17,000 per year average lifestyle. At least tukichagua tu wazuri, in 2-3 years tutafikisha 150,000 per year.
That is the story.
Na Mungu awabariki.
Right. Asante sana. Thank you so much guys for joining us. In other news, Chebukati wa IBC amesema kama uliregistiwa without your consent. If you are registered without consent for the Building Bridges Signature Initiative, amesema kama a court has been complaining. A court is on record. He complained that he found himself that his signature was at in IBC for the approval of BBI. So Chebukati has come on, he said, yeah, court anatusikiza has been taken.
Tunajidaga hapa tukipiga BBI na wewe unaenda una approve.
Alikomleta akasema jina yake lipatikana pale na yeye hakuweka. So Chebukati has said that if your name has been listed in the BBI signatory, you can read a letter to rpit@ibc.co.ke or to top at the IBC offices and the Fazal Towers by 5 p.m. on Monday, January 25, 2021.
How do you know that your name is in the register?
Sijui wanaangalia na wapi?
I think they
need to tell us.
Most likely they will release the verified signatures, because that's the only way we will know that our names are in that.
Or they need to have a portal. I can type in my ID number.
So I think actually they say this IBC urges Kenyans to verify list of BBI supporters. So I think they are going to come out with a list. Labda itakuja halafu angalia kama jina yako uko pale, basi unaenda unaandika barua una complain, unaandika barua kwa CEO, acting CEO wa IBC kama jina yako. Anasema pia kuna majina ambazo zimetolewa because of incomplete records, duplicates and those not in the register of voters. The actual people who signed and are in the register of voters. So kuna majina ambazo zimeweza kutolewa. So walisema ilikuwa 5 million. So sijua ametoa ngapi sasa. Let's have itabaki kwa kitu kwa sababu ni kubaya. Masaa zinaenda, masiku zinaenda. Honorable Julius anasema 2020 year Abbas Njuguna following the rule of law is also very important as far as the development of a country is concerned. But where the government itself is the one involved in breaking the same, then we have a long day to go. Jane Mumbi tours anasema great show, thank you team, asante sana. Brian Sang anasema I can listen to Michendu all day dropping facts. Asante sana. Thank you so much guys. THETACKLE will be joining us. Those guys who have been sharing, we really appreciate you. We hope to see you again tomorrow. Kesho ni sheria wiki hii. Barak Muluka, Daktari Kurokot, Steve Ogola, Deputy Governor wa Nairobi County ambaye hakufika safari, nasikia kidomana katikati. System iliwatega, system ilicheza raha.
Ogola in your dreams my brother, in your dreams. Hii Kanairo hapana mchezo.
Kanairo governor ni wangapi? Watatu. Hii Nairobi yenyewe ni noma bana. Governor ni system Nairobi. Thank you so much guys for always tuning in. We really love you. THETACKLE loves you, and as usual, please keep sharing. Even after we've gone offline, keep sharing the broadcast. Songesha peleka into WhatsApp groups. Share everywhere. We're going to come up with the snippets as well. When the snippet comes down, please download them and share them in your WhatsApp groups. We love you guys and we hope to see you again tomorrow. Bye bye and take care. Salute.
Thank you. God bless. Bye.